was working full-time and being a grandmother to 5 active children. And we had our boys over to spend the night. The next day, my husband took them home, and I was tidying up the house again, and when all of a sudden my leg would not hold my body anymore. It just gave away. It was so painful that I laid down on the living room carpet, and I called my husband up. I said, I think I'm having a stroke. So he took me to a satellite emergency room, which was not connected with a hospital. And they did a CT scan of my brain to see if I was having a stroke. I had a doctor come in, and she said, I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is you're not having a stroke. The bad news is you have a cancerous brain tumor. I felt like she had given me a death sentence, and I already was playing in my mind what my funeral would be like and what it was going to be like for my family when I was gone. The diagnosis was confirmed that it was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in the brain, which is rare, very rare. When I finally started having chemo, that was very grueling for me. It was a hard chemo. After the first treatment, I got pneumonia, so I had to go back to the hospital. And it was during that time that my hair started to fall out. When it started to fall out, I guess that was when I really realized that this is happening. This is a reality in my life. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I wanted to hide it. When I went in to show my husband, I said, this is what it looks like to have cancer. I felt like I was invisible to God. I couldn't read the Bible, nor could I pray. And the only thing that got me through it was the fact that I knew there were many people praying for me. But I felt like God was not listening to my prayers, nor did I have the strength to pray. All I actually wanted to do was to isolate myself. I had started having treatments in April, and they ended in September with a dose that the chemicals were changed, and they told me it was going to be a different regime. As a result, I had sores all in my mouth and all down my esophagus to my stomach. I developed 4 blood infections, high fever, chills, hallucinations. There was a night where my husband was sitting by my bed. I kept asking, am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? My husband got up and walked into the hallway and met one of my doctors. And he told Ron at that point, this is where we often lose our patients. So if I were you, I would go back into your wife's room and pray. He sat with me at night that night, and it was a long night, and prayed for me. I had a dear friend who, she would come and bring me something to eat or to drink and just sit with me. But she was Jesus to me at that point. There were other people who would just call me or email me or text me that they were praying for me at a certain time. After that, I started getting better and better. I started to be able to focus on the scriptures, and I would read, and then I would hold on to each of those words. It was as if God were speaking to me, not only restoring my health and my strength, but restoring my soul. One day when they were taking me down for my MRI, I had this feeling come over me, which now I know was the Holy Spirit. I sat up on the gurney and I pointed my finger, and it was as if it just happened today. I said, I shall live and not die and declare the works of the Lord. And I laid back down. In retrospect, I know it was God speaking to me to give me encouragement. Now I know. It's in my heart. I know that God is faithful. He's faithful to His word. He's faithful to us individually when we are facing any kind of a crisis. I experienced the grace and the faithfulness of God even when I had no strength of my own. God came through for me. I am currently cancer-free. Someone asked me what my prognosis was, and I said God healed me, and I plan to stay that way. Why do I plan to stay that way? Because God gave me a word, and He said, I shall live and not die, and declare the works of the Lord.